Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, game time. Brian here. We are doing our post Cowboys Raiders recap. Didn't feel like doing it last night. It was already up late. Didn't get to bed till after 2. But good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Sunday morning slash. It should be still morning by the time this uploads. Just going to do a short video. We know we're going to keep it real here. Could care less about the win. It's nice that you get a win. I'd rather win than as opposed to lose. But when it comes to going undefeated in preseasons, and it's just like a phobia. I don't really want to. It's not what it's about. It's like you almost get a little bit of false confidence, going into the season. I remember when horrible Cowboy teams back in '88. I think '89, where we went undefeated in the preseason, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna be good. Again, it's about individual performances. But the Cowboys do win 27-12, wrapping up their road schedule for the preseason, where they come home this next week for an afternoon battle. I'm gonna sneeze, so hold up. All right, we got it out. Hopefully. That time of year for me. Normally when rag season starts. Normally around here towards the end of August, up until the first frost. So I am allergic to ragweed. So got that to look forward to. I've noticed I've been sneezing more and more. So I got a little tickle. But yes, we're going to recap it. We're going to tell you the good. We're going to tell you not so good. And we're going to just set the table for the final preseason where you're going to play a lot of people fighting for jobs, which that's what this is about. Okay. It's nice. It's nice how I was watching the Bears game yesterday. Caleb Williams looked fantastic. The offense looked explosive. Just caution people. Listen, just like Jaden Daniels. I'm excited for the kid. Obviously, I'm a Cowboy fan. So, but I'm excited for the kid. I think he was obviously Caleb was a higher talent. I worried a little bit about Caleb Williams, but mental, just just the stuff he was saying. But so far, so good with Caleb Williams. But Jaden Daniels, everybody not named Caleb, he was my top guy. I liked him over Drake May. I liked him over J.J. McCarthy. I just thought he was the complete package, and he just needed to develop, maybe put on a little weight and develop, I think they're going to go. I think the Washington Commanders are going to go as far as that offensive line takes them and that defense. So I think they have weapons. They just need time to get them the ball. But focusing on the Cowboys, there was good. Let's start with the obvious. You got the win. Again, I could care less about the win, but you want to see guys make plays. Trey Lance. Trey Lance had a better game. Was he still throwing behind guys? Yes, he was. Trey Lance definitely had a better game, so I was fine with that. He went 15 for 23, 151 yards and a touchdown. Timing's still a little bit off. If his first read's not there, he likes to run, which, listen, I think with a backup, that's fine, or a third emergency guy. At least you can bring in a guy who could make plays with his feet, A lot of starters tend to not want to do that because you get hurt doing that. But Trey had a decent game. Aiden O'Connell for the Raiders, not so much. 14 for 20 for 96, one touchdown, one interception. Gardner Minshew. Eesh. Let me look at the box. Let me look at the team stats. Let me look at the box score. We'll look at the box score, people. Let me share the screen here. We'll go with the bigger one. There it is. Okay, Cooper Rush, not as good. He had, one series, maybe two series, but he only threw the ball 3 times. 1 for 3 for 6 yards. But Trey Lance, no INTs. Quarterback rating, uh, just just a tick under 100. But Gardner Minshew, 10 for 21, 95 yards. Dallas's backups did very well against him. I mean, that first drive, Raiders had some success running the ball. Um, Mark Hutchton, one of our new Mailheads crew channel members, loves Deuce Vaughn. He loves him some Deuce Vaughn. Not 5 for 34, 6.8 average. That's all you could ask for, Mark. He looked very elusive. Again, I want people to just understand that he has a role. Especially when you're going with a running back by committee, he has a role. We saw some from Royce Freeman, 7 for 32 at a 4.6 clip. You know, guys like Snoop Connor, I think he's not making the team. We'll see if he. It'll be up to them who they want on the practice squad. Malik Davis, not great. Ryan Flournoy. Well, we'll get to the receivers. He did have an end around for 7 yards. Um, so let's focus on first the quarterbacks. Obviously, Cooper, just based off of reps. Uh, Anybody who you didn't see last night is on the team. So unless they're injured, but we know Maji's on the team. So Trey Lance, he's going to be with us for the third. I know I've seen a lot of people say trade. I don't see them doing that, especially with the Dak deal not done. You can't afford to trade anybody. The strides that Trey Lance has made from game one to game two, I expect him to get a lot, if not all, of the reps next week. So I'm happy for him. He's still a long way away from being a quality NFL starter, but a backup, third string guy, he's definitely, that's all you could ask is for him to make strides from year one to year two. So there was never any doubt. The only doubt we have right now is Dak getting a contract before the start of the season. That's the elephant in the room, along with CD. But moving on to our running backs, no Rico Dowdle, no Ezekiel Elliott. We saw Hunter Lepke for, I believe, maybe we didn't. I thought I saw, yeah, we did see him. He blocked and missed a block. That's my only problem with Lepke. They have him listed as a fullback, but he's not a good blocker. He's never, everybody goes, oh, look, Hunter Lepke's a fullback. He's not Mike Allstott. He's not one of those guys. He's a single back runner. So, but he's on the team. They're trying to get him into that H-back, but he didn't see any plays last night. He only had one play where I saw he whiffed on a block and almost got a Cooper Rush killed. So, again, that's what he needs. That's why Zeke's on the team. You know, I mean, you hear Eagle fans talking about Saquon Barkley. The one thing he does is pass pro really good. Well, that's why Zeke's here. People go, oh, Zeke's old. Okay. We have a stable, I don't know if it's a stable. We have a group of running backs who can get the job done. With Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, I don't know how this is all going to shake out. We'll get to the 53 next week. But Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lepke, Ezekiel Elliott, and Royce Freeman. I expect maybe they'll cut Royce and try and bring him back. I mean, I think you can. He was out there. I would think you can get him back on the practice squad and then elevate him after you do all your injuries. You're going to have to do this 53 kind of like what they did last year. But we can't afford to lose anybody good. And that brings me to our wide receivers. I was wrong. Racey McMath, I don't think he's making the team. I think they're going to try and get him on the practice squad. We just don't have enough room for him. He's not a young drafted player. 3 receptions, 54 yards. But the guy that I'm very excited who had been hurt in a training camp is Ryan Flournoy. Ryan Flournoy stepped up in the last 2 games, not having practiced hardly at all camp, and yet he's shining in games. Give me a guy like that as opposed to a Jalen Moreno Cropper, who I like. And I'm going to try and get to the practice squad. But when you get to the game, you don't hear him, or he's dropping, or he's fumbling a punt. Remember, we all saw it last night. carrying the ball like a loaf of bread. And he fumbled, and we lost it. And we only gave up a field goal, I think. Maybe no points. Maybe they went for it. I don't know. I think it was a field goal, though. Um, so Ryan Flournoy, to me, has jumped to that last spot as far as making the team, and he was a draft pick. John Stevens Jr., he's the tight end slash X. I don't know where he falls. I like him. I don't know. Nathaniel Pete, one catch, 15 yards. I think he's a practice squad guy. Luke Schoonmaker got a big run. Looked good at times. Um, you know, we'll see. He's got to stay healthy. Um, Jalen Tolbert actually had one reception for 6 yards. I was surprised. Tyrone Billy Johnson. He's been like one of the standouts at camp, but that was before Diggs was there. Now Diggs is there. Tyrone Billy Johnson, he hasn't done much in games. Again, remember Dennis Houston? He was the practice stud, and then get in the games, and you wouldn't see much. So I worry. I think you can get him to the practice squad. Princeton Fant, who I think is elevating himself over Brevin Spanford, even though I loved what I saw from Brevin Spanford's blocking. Jalen Brooks, I know he had the one drop. I think Jalen's on the team, but he did have the one drop. So, offensively, that's what we're going to look at. Who's going to claim that last wide receiver spot? Who's going to be, how many running backs they keeping? I think they're keeping, honestly, I think they're going to cut a lot of them and try and get them back on the practice squad. All these teams like their own players. So it's not like, our guys, every team likes their own players. Now, you got to watch out for a receiver with teams like the Eagles who need depth at wide receiver. I know they had, I know what everybody's saying, but maybe not the Eagles. But, the people are looking for traits and where they may have had a guy on their draft board. That's why Ryan Flournoy can't be dangled, because I think Ryan Flournoy will be gone. So you think you need to keep Ryan Flournoy and take your chances with everybody else. Jalen Moreno Cropper, Tyrone Billy Johnson, those guys, Racy McMath, those guys you could try and get back on the practice squad, whoever is left. That's what you got to do. But if you're going to keep running backs, you figure Zeke, Lepke, Deuce Vaughn, Rico Dowdle. So that'll be 3 running backs and a fullback. Everybody else gets cut, and you try and bring them back on the practice squad. That's the only thing I could think of. I know they like Royce, but they're not keeping 3 running backs and a fullback. They're not keeping 4 running backs. So that's just a numbers game, people. That's just what it is. Running backs, God forbid, you can go out and get one. So offensively, I thought it was better for Lance. More importantly, up front, you saw Cooper Beebe doing really well, along with Brock Hoppin. This is what I was trying. I was hoping Drew would be on the broadcast. I'm not saying look at the game, look how good we did. I'm not saying that, but just to show you the depth of our offensive line. Yes, we don't have that front line, Tyron Smith, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, I get it. We don't have that guy. What we have is Tyler Guyton, who's going to struggle at times against the better pass rushers, but fights, and he's able to recover. He's not getting his quarterback killed like Udoga would just miss assignments, and guys would be running free. If Guyton gets beat, then he's able to correct because his feet are so good. Now, Ultra Cowboy did say that Lane Johnson had come out and was telling the Eagles, that, well, I'm going to defer to Ultra. I didn't hear that, but he said that Lane Johnson said that told the Eagles he wanted the Eagles to draft Tyler Guyton. So, who knows if it's true, but it's interesting like you see him, he's not always correct in where he's going, but his feet and his athleticism is able to get him to recover. So far, so good for Guyton. Beebe looked really well. I don't know how that center position is going to shake out. I did see, let's go at left tackle. I saw Asim Richards playing some guard, which was interesting to me. They're trying to get these guys flexed up. I don't think Waletzko is a guard. I think Waletzko is your swing tackle. Um, I even saw the new kid. I don't know his name. The offensive lineman. He was a Spanish guy. Looked pretty good at right tackle. I like what they. I like what I saw anyway. Um, So offensively, obviously, in order to go in the season, I like to see a CD signed and on the sideline by a Saturday for the game. Watching, getting ready for the season. Now's the time, Jerry and Steven. If we're arguing over $1 million, meet him in the middle. Let's go. It's time to get the deal done, and it's time to poop or get off the pot as far as Dak Prescott. Whatever you want to do. I don't like going into the season. Just come out and say we're not signing him. That's fine, and then we'll deal with it later. But Dak seems okay with going into the season with negotiation, which tells you what he wants to be here. He don't want to cut it off because he don't want to have that temptation of somebody offering him 68, 70 million next year. You know, because then he's gone. Dallas ain't paying that. Now, some people say, well, Jerry will pay whatever if he wants a player. And that's just not smart business. So, but anyway, let's turn it over to the defensive side. Andrew Booth, he led the team in tackles, but that's because he had a lot of playing time. He was the corner that we traded for Nashawn Wright. He did give up the one play early, the bigger play, but then he played very well. He was a second-round draft pick by the Vikings. Sometimes people just need a change of scenery. But he led the team in tackles. He seems to fit in Zimmer's scheme. 8 total, 7 solo. I was actually impressed with the kids tackling. If I took anything out of the game, for the most part, there was a few plays. There was some slippage here and there. But our tackling was pretty darn good. Julius Wood, 5 tackles, 3 solo. He's the one safety I was telling everybody, like one of one of the guys I was saying, I don't know what they're going to do. You can only keep so many safeties. So how is that going to shake out? That's why I still keep thinking something might happen with Donovan Wilson. But Damian Wilson, I think he's on the bubble. I think Damian might get cut, but I think they'll try and get him to the practice squad. He was available last year. 4 total, 3 solo. Marquise Bell didn't do anything to jump off the page, but he's on the team. Marquise got the game ball for crying out loud last week. Keeman Hall. Keeman Hall is the cornerback you had to pick 6. Early on in the game, to me, he wasn't as sticky as I would have liked. But yet, he picked it up. Zimmer probably got it his butt. And, he had 3 total, 2 solo, but he had to pick 6. Great play on the ball. Fought through the receiver. Caught the ball. That's what you want. You want to see individual plays, and Keeman Hall demonstrated that he's an athlete. Josh DeBerry, I know a lot of guys around the team love what they saw from Josh DeBerry. Last night, I didn't see it. He's a practice squad candidate if I've ever seen one. Josh was not up on the receiver as much as possible. Here's the deal, people. When you're playing the type of defense that Zimmer plays, where they like to drop into coverage a lot and send exotic blitzes through the A gap or off the edge. They like to keep everything in front of them. When it's 3rd and 3, you can't be playing off of the receiver and just give them free releases. I understand it's a gamble to try and jam somebody because if you miss, you're giving up the big play the other way. Josh DeBerry needs to work on closing that distance between him and the receiver. But again, I think he's a practice squad guy. Maris didn't get much run. They love Maris Leofel. There's a guy who early on in camp and last year I really liked, Josh Butler. I have not seen it up until this point. He's had flashes in practice, but in games where it really counts, Josh Butler, I don't think he makes the team. Okay, I could be wrong. I'm just saying. If I'm picking and choosing, give me the people that are flashing in games against other teams' competition. Right? Sometimes people get comfortable in practice and they want to let it go, but then you get it under the big lights. I don't know, Josh. Nothing personal, bro. I want you to be a part of this team, but not probably uh, the original 53. You're going to be part of that practice squad if at all possible. Um, Justin Rogers, the big defensive tackle, got some run. He looked good at times. Willie Harvey Jr., I think that's a find. Willie Harvey was in the backfield a lot. He's a big time tackler, UFL. Again, he's not our number one linebacker, but he's definitely in the mix. I'm keeping Willie Harvey over Damian Wilson all day. Yeah, every day. Buddy Johnson is a good special teamer. He was all over the field. I think he may be in the mix. He was on the practice squad last year. And this Imani Johnson, I think he may get cut and brought on the practice squad, but uh, he was brought in as part of this draft class. Nick Vigil, I know he's a special teamer for Zimmer. So we're getting, and I did see Al Qadim Muhammad, number 92. He was in the backfield a lot, like whenever he got snaps, and yeah, he had uh, pass deflect, and he hit the quarterback hard once, which is right there. Um, Eric Scott Jr., good and bad. He started out bad, then got better. Again, if I can move him for something, I'm moving him. I hope this team doesn't. I don't think they will. I think that this team, um, Mike Zimmer's not going to care about anybody else's regime. Mike Zimmer is the coach of this defense for now. I think he's going to be in the future as well. He's only got the 1 year deal. They had to do that. Um, we'll see. They gave Jordan Phillips a little bit of run. He only saw a couple plays. So I'm going to stop there with all the individual stats. Let's see here. Just an overview. Team stats. Dallas had 294 total yards. Raiders had 315, so you lost that. They each had one turnover. Remember, we had the pick six, and Dallas, Jalen Moreno Cropper fumbled the punt return. Can't do that. First downs, we edged them 18-17. Time of possession, the Raiders 32-35 to 27-25. Just looking at some of just at a glance. Passing first downs, 18-17 us. Running, 15-9 them. First down penalties, or first downs from penalties. Dallas got no first downs and penalties. Raiders got one. Third down efficiency, 2 for 9. Not good enough. Raiders 7 for 17. Fourth down, we were 1 for 1. They were 1 for 4. We had 57 total plays. They had 71. So we had 10 drives. They had 11 drives. Just say anything else. We had 137 yards rushing. They had 68. We pretty much stopped their run outside of that first drive, which it seems like it's a thing with us. That first drive always seems to get us. You can't do that. Red zone, we were 2 for 2. They were 1 for 4. Yards per rush, 4.4. That's good. We had way too many penalties, 9 for 83. That's too much. We need to cut that in half. They had 8 for 75. And that's basically it, people. 27-12, Dallas wins the game. Who cares? It's more about individual performances. We saw some good, we saw some bad, but we saw way more good this game than bad, especially in the second half when you got down to your deep, deep guys. It's always cool to see guys like Keeman Hall have the big play because, he was holding on to that ball. He was you could tell he was running in the end zone with 2 hands on the ball. He did not want that moment to slip away. So that was really cool. Shout out to the winners, Thomas Garrett. You got the bobblehead coming your way. Ron the Don, The one and only Ron Danon. Ron Dadon, I pulled your name out of a hat. So if you're watching this video, email me at gametimebrian@gmail.com. Brian with a Y. And we'll get you something sent out to you on Monday. I got hats. I got a bunch of different color of these hats. These are embroidered hats, so they're nice. I got one shirt left for now. So let me know what you like, my guy. But yes, just a couple notes around the league. Stephon Gilmore has signed a 1-year minimal deal with the Vikings. So that tells you Dallas just did not want him back. We're very deep at the D-back spot. It is what it is. We wish him well. Stephon Gilmore going to a Vikings, not the best possible situation, but he will be reunited with Nashawn Wright. That's cool. And the one and only Randy Gregory. I don't know what's going on with Randy these days. He seems like he's angry. Ever since he left here, he's been fighting with people and trolls and media. Life's too short, Randy. If you're not happy, you should step away, and that's exactly what Randy is doing. He is getting his release from the Bucs sometime this week. They said they're going to release him. So I don't know how that works as far as money-wise. They signed him in free agency. Randy's dealing with stuff. Me and Randy got into it on Twitter. X, it was Twitter back then, after he left. Just some of the comments, him walking out the door. It's a business, Randy. Sorry, bro. And he's upset. He's suing the NFL because of all the fines from his smoking weed, because he's bipolar. And, listen, I got nothing but love for Randy. But again, Dallas is the one that went to bat for you time and time again. So to give them a slight break, or to worry about a word, like a particular word in the contract, but that was the whole sticking point. If he screws up again, now the rules are in your favor, Randy. There's not any issue as far as marijuana is concerned. So you should be trying to bank your money now, get into a camp, ball, maybe get one more contract. We all get caught up with, the minimum salary is only $1.2 million. Okay, $1 million, most of us could use that $1 million and live happily for the rest of our lives. You wouldn't be able to retire, but I work. I'm a 9-to-5er. We all have jobs, right? Most of us in this watching this have jobs or are retired. Not many of us can just sit home or travel the world and be rich. That's not the American ideal. That's not. You're in the upper 1%. So if you have millions in the bank, which I'm sure you do, I would try and get back on the field, Randy. You were actually a pretty good football player. Not sure what's going on, bro. I don't know. But he is going to get his release this week from the Bucs, so he'll be on the market. Maybe we'll bring Randy back. I don't know. That's it. Randy Gregory to the Cowboys. But all right, everybody, that's it. Just a quick little recap. The Cowboys win 27-12. There's good, there's bad. A lot of guys who are fighting for the last of the roster spots. And just don't forget, everybody. Don't forget. We them boys. I'll talk to everybody later.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Late.
I just realized who Game Time Brian was. I didn't know it from earlier.